February 28, 2026. If you just look at a map of the front line, you might think not much has changed. But in the air, a record was shattered. According to the Ukrainian General Staff, Russian aerospace forces dropped 328 guided aerial bombs in a single day. That is not a typo. 328. To put that in perspective, back in October of 2025, the record was 268. Russia just blew past that by 60 bombs in one 24-hour period. First, let's define the munition. The report uses the term guided aerial bombs, commonly known as KABs. In Russian military terminology, KAB stands for Korrektiruyemaya Aviationная Bomba, corrected aircraft bomb. Now, these aren't fancy cruise missiles. They are typically old-school Soviet iron bombs, sometimes 500 kilograms, sometimes 1,500 kilograms, and sometimes 3,000 kilograms, fitted with a kit. The KAB 500 is the workhorse. A 500-kilogram class weapon, it is designed to destroy hardened command posts, artillery positions, and armored concentrations with precision. But when we talk about the 328 bombs dropped that day, the inclusion of the FAB-3000 changes the nature of the damage. The FAB-3000 is a 3-ton monster. It is not always precise in the way a laser-guided missile is, but it doesn't need to be. The sheer explosive mass creates a blast radius that obliterates everything in a wide area. When you drop a 3,000-kilogram bomb, you aren't trying to hit a trench. You're trying to collapse the trench, bury the occupants, and deny the area for hours. By mixing these munitions, using the 500 kilograms for precision strikes on defensive positions and the 1,500 or 3,000 kilograms for area denial, Russian aviation creates a layered effect of destruction. Defenders can survive a KAB-500 if they are deep underground. They cannot survive a direct hit from a KAB-1500, and they cannot hide from the overpressure of a FAB-3000. This kit includes folding wings and a guidance system, usually GLONASS satellite guidance or inertial navigation. Why are they suddenly so effective? Because Russia has mastered the glide bomb concept. Instead of flying directly over the target and getting shot down by Ukrainian manpads or medium-range air defense, the Su-34 climbs to altitude, accelerates, and releases the bomb. The bomb's wings pop out and it glides, sometimes as far as 40 to 80 kilometers, towards the target. The pilot never has to see the target. He just has to release the weapon inside a GPS coordinate box. The primary delivery platform here is the Su-34, NATO reporting name Fullback. This is the workhorse of this campaign. It's a strike aircraft designed specifically for this role. It has a side-by-side seating arrangement to reduce pilot fatigue on long missions, and it's armored to survive shrapnel. But in this tactic, the Su-34 isn't relying on armor. It's relying on math. By releasing these KBs from standoff ranges, they are exploiting a critical gap in the Ukrainian air defense network. Ukrainian air defense is dangerous. Systems like the Patriot or S-300 can reach high altitudes. But if the Su-34 releases a bomb 40 to 80 kilometers away and then turns back, it might be flying just outside the engagement envelope of those systems, or inside an area where the coverage is thin. Russia is playing the odds. They are accepting that they might lose a few aircraft to lucky shots or patrolling F-16s, but by releasing from distance, they keep the loss rate low enough to sustain a tempo of 100-plus airstrikes per day. This presents a terrifying dilemma for the Ukrainian ground forces. How do you stop a bomb you can't shoot down? The simple answer is you have to shoot the plane before it drops the bomb. But to do that, Ukrainian air defenses would need to be positioned dangerously close to the front lines, where they become targets for Russian Lancet drones and artillery. Systems like the Patriot or the S-300 can reach these bombers, but they are scarce. They are usually reserved for protecting major cities and strategic infrastructure from ballistic missiles. They cannot be everywhere along the 1,000-kilometer front. The F-16s now in Ukrainian service are part of the solution. They can carry advanced air-to-air missiles like the AIM-120 AMRAAM. But again, to intercept a Su-34 launching glide bombs, the F-16 has to fly close enough to engage, risking entering the bubble of Russia's own S-400 air defenses. For now, the Ukrainian response isn't just about shooting them down. It's about dispersal, digging deeper, and electronic warfare, attempting to jam the GLONASS signal guiding the bombs to cause them to miss their targets. The report draws a specific comparison to October of last year, when the previous record of 268 was set. That was the fall period, where Russian forces were trying to consolidate defensive lines after the Ukrainian counteroffensive had stalled. But look at the monthly statistics. According to Ukrainian military statistics, Russian aviation employed a record 5,717 aerial bombs during January 2026 alone. Let me put that number in perspective. That figure represents a 26% increase compared to December of 2025. It is not a spike. It is a steady expansion of industrial capacity. The Russians have solved their supply chain issues regarding these glide kits. When we see a daily record of 328, it confirms that the January production rate wasn't a fluke. They have the stockpiles, and they have the logistics to move these massive munitions to forward air bases. This isn't a wartime surge anymore. This is the new normal baseline. The October record was a warning shot. The February record is the establishment of a routine. What does 328 bombs in a day actually feel like on the ground? It means the sky is falling consistently. The Ukrainians reported 103 airstrikes during that reporting period. That is roughly 4 airstrikes every hour. Imagine being in a trench or a bunker, hearing the distinct whistling or rushing sound of a glide bomb approaching. Unlike a mortar, which gives a few seconds of warning, the first indication of a glide bomb is often the detonation itself, or if you're lucky, the sound of its jet engine or glide path seconds before impact. This volume of bombardment serves 2 purposes. First, it destroys physical defenses. Second, it denies rest. It forces Ukrainian units to remain in cover, preventing them from maneuvering to counterattack or rotate out. It pins them in place while Russian ground forces, presumably, attempt to advance under this aerial umbrella. The 26% increase in bomb usage from December to January tells us the factory presses are running hot. Russia is betting that steel and explosives can achieve what maneuver warfare could not in 2022. The record of 328 guided bombs in a single day is a stark milestone. It confirms that the Russian military has adapted to the limitations of its air force. Unable to achieve air superiority, they have instead achieved air persistence. They have accepted that they may lose some aircraft, but they have built a system where the loss rate is acceptable relative to the damage inflicted. As long as the Su-34s can launch from behind a curtain of electronic warfare and distance, this bombardment will continue. For Ukraine, the answer lies in 2 places: increasing the range of its own strikes to hit the air bases where these Su-34s park, and receiving enough air defense munitions to create a bubble deep enough to push the launch platforms even further back. Until then, the math is brutal. 328 today, perhaps 350 next month. The glide bomb has become the defining weapon of this phase of the war. Until now, that's all for today, and thank you guys for watching the video.